Hey, 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 how you guys doing out there? What is the word? How you feeling? Let me turn this down. All right, how you guys doing out there? What is the word? How you feeling out there? I am Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and welcome to the dark side of the room. This is the show where we talk about hobbying and gaming and all that stuff, and life in general. You know, I'm a very big fan of the life in general thing. That's kind of cool to me. I have a decent amount of fun with that type of thing, and when I say a decent amount of fun, I mean rah. So but we're here, we're doing the thing. Thank you guys for being here. As you can see, I got my little gangsta lean going right now because I'm very tired. But again, when am I not, right? I mean, seriously. So, welcome to the dark side of the room. And today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which are one-shot adventures for role-playing games. What their merits are, what they are, how they belong, and all that other stuff. So, strap in, because this one is actually going to be a fun one. I got to vent my spleen last night for 2 hours, so things aren't exactly as serious today as they normally would be. I gotta love how one national tragedy can reset an entire week. But anyway, along with that though, if you guys got any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us over on the social media that everyone has and no one likes, specifically Twitter and Instagram. You can also reach out to us over on TikTok, and of course, right now in the chat, both on YouTube and Twitch, is our Discord invitation. So yeah, hit us up over there as well, because yeah, why not, right? You know, you can hit us up on the Discord and we can be like, yeah, what's going on? How you guys feeling? And all that jazz. So yeah, that really was a major thing. So with all that being said, let's see. Well, this is the part of the show, excuse me, where I start begging, of course, because I do a lot of begging on the show and all that jazz. So, that being said, y'all, you know, if you guys like what we're doing, or if you like the shows, or if you like the show, make sure, or if you like our shows, make sure that the channel grows by subscribing and recommending our channel and sharing all the stuff that we put out there with people. A lot of folks are like, oh my god, it's an hour, it's so much. It's not like you gotta watch it all in one sitting. It's not like you don't hit pause, and it's not like you end up sitting watching TikTok videos or YouTube videos for 3 to 4 to 5 hours at a time, right? I mean, seriously. It's a thing. When I'm looking at making purchases for the channel or for games, I'm like, oh my god, $10, good lord. Well, $10, well, wait a second, I spent that at the grocery store just yesterday. So, oh man, that is like a real big thing. So, with all that stuff, yeah, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Here on Twitch, it's only about $5 for a tier 1 subscription. Also, head on over to our patreon.com/BID_P and become a patron and all that stuff. That really helps us keep our doors open and puts you guys on the royalty tier if you do $20 or more a month, like our royalty tiers and Shannon Boom Boom Lay, Laura Holton, Jennifer Kroll, Chaley Watson, Frank Perkins, Noel Olheiler. We also got our King tier being Glenn Couch, Laura Gross, and of course Christopher Chalmers, our longest lasting king, and of course our ace in the hole, Mr. Joseph Hines. So Thank all of you guys. And if you guys don't want to do all that stuff, we got a donate button that goes to the Back in the Deck Patreon. So, or goes to the Back in the Deck PayPal. So, you know, if you want to throw us 20, 30, 40 bucks, that's, but you only want to do it once and be like, nah, this is what you get, that's all. We appreciate that too. Currently, I'm on a quest, to get more subscribers and get more donations right now, just so I can pay the internet bill. So that is kind of one of the big things that's out there. So now that we got all that going, what's going on? What is going on, guys? So yeah, let's see who is here. We got our staples over here on Twitch, and I am just so jazzed about that. We're talking Alien Gathering, Casino Thanks, Lana Raid, Neon Arlecchino, the meme master of the Discord server, Violet's TV, Vixabel Cosplay. Thank you guys. Let's check real quick. I want to check real quick to see who is over on the YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure Daryl's over there doing his thing, and I appreciate that because things need to be done. So yeah, that is super cool, super great. Thank you guys for showing up. And so yeah, so a lot of people hear a whole lot of terms, right? One of my favorite things to complain at length about is jargon. I cannot stand jargon. Essentially, jargon is the insular language of any particular thing. So a lot of the times we have jargon because there are specialized tools, specialized procedures that are only for that subject, you know. So I don't know, let's see here. When you have like an oil filter wrench, right? That is a specialized tool. It's not sold for anything else and all that jazz. So one of the jargon phrases that we got in the tabletop role-playing community is one shot. And what does that mean? What is a one shot, right? Well, it's actually pretty simple. When you're dealing with a one shot, it is literally an adventure that you play in one session. Hopefully. In modern times, one shots have become 2 shots, maybe 3 shots, but it really is sometimes an encounter, sometimes just a really quick story arc. You know, just think about them like an episodic adventure, okay? And this is really, really big, okay? Just a really quick episodic thing, a 20-minute episode, like an episode of a sitcom like Full House. Like that's really what you got. In this episode, in this episode, one of the kids wants to get a car and they talk about the thing, and then they either get a car or they don't, and is never mentioned before or after again, generally. And what does this come down to? Well, there is a drawback to role-playing games. And when I say a drawback, I mean a thing that scares a lot of people off. And I mean a lot of people off of the game. Oh, kids on bikes, we're out. That's on the list of games. Don't worry about it, Neon. But one of the things that scares off a lot of potential players and a lot of new players are epic scale campaigns. Not epic level, okay? Epic in scale and scope. We are talking, remember when you were new and you would talk to old grognard gamers like myself, and we would talk about being part of a campaign that would last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? And it's like, I don't know if I'm up for that kind of commitment, y'all. I mean, we're talking, I just kind of want to get in there and I want to play a game. I don't necessarily want to, I don't want to get into a relationship with 5 people for the better part of my post-adolescent or fully fledged adult life, right? And this is where one-shots come in. Now, I found a particular love of one-shots for a couple of reasons. They're not very difficult to plan. And with a one shot, you can really pull out the stops as a GM. Meaning you can pull out your miniatures, your sets. Like, you can take all the stuff that you use for your tabletop minis game generally and go, boom, this is where we are. We're in this neighborhood, or we're in this house, or we're going down to this shack, or this dungeon only has 3 rooms. That's it. That's all we're dealing with, or at least that's all I wrote. But knowing gamers, especially new ones who pretty much learn how to game by playing JRPG video games, which is check every square, empty every box, open every barrel, look for the loot in every single nook and cranny that you got, and always find an excuse to use your new thing. A one-shot could honestly last 2 or 3 sessions, but it's all fun when people are engaged, okay? But what is a one-shot? Well, when you sit down, you got to look at what a role-playing game tends to be, all right? In the D&D Player's Handbook, they say a game consists of 3 major pillars: exploration, combat, and social interactions, okay? That's a big thing. That's it. Black and white, now in color, is now using a thing. Nerdy Brew, what's going on? So yeah, you're saying it's called being a complete, you find nothing of interest. But yeah, you can be a completionist. I mean, that's a big thing. But I'm not making fun, all right? I'm not making fun of people whose primers to role-playing games were video games, all right? I had Final Fantasy. I heard about Dungeons and Dragons, but the first thing I could find was the Ultima series of video games for the PC. Nobody in my neighborhood had a computer that could play them, but back in my day, computers were like $5,000 or $6,000 when the median income was $20,000 a year. So you just think about that. But when you run a one shot, okay, it literally is, I have planned for us to have a beginning, a middle, and an end in this session. Okay, that is what we are planning to do. All right, no cliffhangers unless you plan on making your one shot link into a different one shot, which could spawn into a campaign. But it is that $5 purchase. It is that you get in there, you want to try something, and then boom, look at this. I'm playing D&D, but I'm only doing it for the day. This is my appetizer, okay? But what are some of the benefits? Well, long time ago, back in the 1980s and the 90s, they released books, TSR and a lot of other companies released books called modules. Okay? And a module was an adventure. All right, this is an adventure. Now, here's the thing. A lot of adventures, like the one I'm holding from D&D 3.5's game called Midnight, this was an adventure that was supposed to take place over 4 to 5, maybe 6 sessions, right? That's what we're looking at on this guy. All right, this Moon of the Shadow. And, it really helps cut down on the work that your game master has to do, because all the plots are there, the maps are there, the monsters are there, the NPCs or the important NPCs are there. And if you want to do more with it, that's on you. But if you don't want to do more, you don't have to. So real talk, the module was a really big thing out there. Now, one step down from the module is the one-shot module, all right? And this is the whole outline. This is what they call in Hollywood a treatment, all right? If you guys love the pitch meetings as much as I do, the YouTube channel Pitch Meetings used to be part of Screen Rant. That essentially is a one-shot. So you've got a D&D game for me? Yes, sir, I do. My characters are okay. Well, tell me about it. Well, we start off with a party of adventurers that are told of a treasure chest. A treasure chest? Yes, a treasure chest. And that chest has a bunch of gold and shiny things. Ooh, shiny things are tight, and they have to go into the forest and find that thing full of shiny things. Oh, well, I guess walking through the dark forest will be very difficult. No, it's super easy, barely an inconvenient. Oh, really? Well, yeah, 3 of the characters are rangers, and they do ranging things. Oh, but do they get attacked by Yogi Bear? Only once, sir, because Yogi Bear is sitting on the treasure chest, and it turns out to be a picnic basket. A picnic basket? Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yes, sir. I mean, that's really what it is. And, I had to stop that because I was falling down a rabbit hole, so I'm sorry. This is impression, not stealing, okay? Okay, good. All right, moving on. But that's it. It's, you guys go get the MacGuffin. You rescue the princess. You do a thing, and you do it quick because they're not that far away. The monsters are not that hard, and then you go, wow, that was nice. Now, the easiest thing to understand how the one-shot campaign appeals to people is because it hits that little thing in the back of the brain that is touched by playing a board game. Okay? Most board games, especially the ones I grew up with, your Monopolies, your Sorry, your all that stuff, those are made to be sat down and played in 3 or 4 hours with the family, and you call it a day. Okay, that's it. That's what you sit down, you run around the neighborhood, you buy the houses, you tell your sister, screw you, pay me. Your mom says, don't talk to your sister like that. Somebody flips the table over and y'all go to bed. But with a one shot, real talk, with a one shot, that's pretty much what it is with your role-playing game, okay? Now, these types of games tend to be quick. They tend to be sitting down on one thing. It's like, hey, look, we're all trying to find a necklace that someone stole, and it was somebody in this room. And then after the thing has been accomplished, you put everything away, and you get on with your day. Or you can play another one-shot. It's all up to you. But the difference between this is, as I said, scale and scope. There are so many supplement books to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, Pathfinder 1st edition, Pathfinder 2nd, that are source books and campaigns together, like Dragon Heist or or Mountain of the Frost Giants, or all that stuff, where you've got 300 pages of adventure. That ain't meant to be done in one session. That could be a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, depending on how far you get in the campaign on an average session and how often you have sessions. But a one shot, one and done, baby. One and done, baby. What you gonna do? Yeah, what you gonna do? It's one and done. You sit down, you play the game, you pack up, you go home. That's right, baby. That's all. And 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons really did lean into this with something called the Adventurers Guild. Okay, in the Adventurers Guild, it was take the character that you already made for Adventurers Guild a long time ago, and find a game that's running a one-shot for your character's level. Sit in, play that game with strangers, finish up that game in that night, go home, and never talk to those people again. It is brilliant, okay? And every 5th edition game that I've looked at, be it Esper Genesis, be it Dungeons and Dragons, be it Dungeons and Dogs, all that stuff, okay? They release a bunch of one-shot adventures that lead into other one-shot adventures, okay? And they're out there. Like, if you join the Adventurers Guild, you can get the campaigns. Now, the biggest one-shot, or the most popular one-shot currently for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is, of course, the Halls of Pandelvner, which comes with the D&D starter set. And it's first level players, pre-made characters, goblins, call it a day. Now, this turns a role-playing game much closer into a board game, but sometimes you just need that hit, man. I ain't played D&D in months, man. I just need a one shot. Just give me one shot, man. Come on. I need to rob a caravan, y'all. That's all. Just give me one magic item. One magic item. Come on, just a magic item. Type of thing. That's really all you want sometimes, because let's face it, after 2 years of living with COVID, we need to throw some of the math rocks sometimes. All right, we really do. I need to throw the math rocks and hear the clickety clack, and the table go, oh, at least once. You know what I mean? And so this is where one shots come in. All right, that's the whole thing. All right, and one shots really easy to write, easy to find online, easy to buy, but they still need those basic things. Someone interesting to talk to, somewhere interesting to go, something interesting to take, some sort of interesting reward, and something to fight. Those are the four pillars of a one-shot adventure game. Okay, that's it. If you're running Conan or Torg or Mutants and Masterminds, the easiest thing to really think about when it comes to one-shots, all right, are the way comic books used to be written. You have your superhero character, you pick up a comic book, they stop a bank robbery, the police chief goes, well, those guys really stuck to their laurels. And then you call it a day. That's really all you need. That's it. That's it. Where people get into the weeds when it comes to one shots is that they start thinking way too big. Okay, they start thinking short story, or they start thinking novella or small novel or Game of Thrones or Dresden Files. And the fact of the matter is, with tabletop role-playing games, real talk, sometimes a fight, just one combat, can last 2 to 3 hours. Okay, the last one shot I started to run, it took like an hour and a half to 2 hours for the players to get halfway across the map, and the map was a cold tundra. I mean, that's literally it. There weren't very many. There wasn't a dark forest. There wasn't traps. There wasn't stuff. But you know what? A couple of orcs riding bears came out, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm gonna fight the orcs on bears. Well, I'm gonna hide. Well, I'm gonna go over here. All right, we got one of the. Nope, I want to take the bear. I want the bear as a pet. I mean, seriously. So yeah. All of that stuff was part of the one shot. Okay, and I had a whole bunch lined up, but that was it. Now, any campaign can have a one shot ripped out of it. Okay, we're only talking a singular, like 1 to 3 scenes. All right, so really, really think about this. A one shot is a lot like a short, a YouTube video. All right, and that's it. You got a complete story. That should only, if you were to tell the story, it should only be about 15-20 minutes. That's all. Okay, 15-20 minutes, including the part of the screenplay where it says they fight, because in they fight, it's and Jon Snow gets buried by corpses and he has to climb his way up to not suffocate, or Or you're running a singular one shot and you're inside your wizard's lab, but there's a fly inside and it has the risk of contaminating all of your spell components. So you have to find the fly, make a perception check. Yes, I did just do that. And if you know, you know. So that whole thing is literally like a thing that happened one time, but it was interesting enough to talk about. So what's the utility of this? Well, the utility of a one-shot is really fertile learning grounds for new players and new GMs or new groups that have gotten together and don't know each other. Okay? This is the reason that Adventure League does everything in one-shots, all right? Especially since there's no commitment to going back to that same group of gamers. It's a great bellwether to find which DM that you're good for, or what players are good for certain DMs. You know, I mean, it really is. Again, a lot of my players don't know this, so I'm putting it out there. Like, I'm not saying masks off, but a little bit on how the sausage is made. Every single time I put together a new group of players for Warp Tumblers or the stuff I do in the real world, like the stuff I do at community centers with the kids, I always start with a one-shot, a beginning, middle, and end. Because, you know, that first hit you got to do, man. Hey, there you go. That is what the whole thing is. And it's a really good priming spot. A lot of places like to give demos with the sense of, this is what combat is. Look at the combat thing. And that's for two reasons. Number one, the 5th edition system. And indeed, back in the old days with D20 or the older days with THAC0, that was where the game was based on. We talked about this yesterday. It's an adventure game with an emphasis on combat. But combat is the thing that singularly takes the longest, in the sense that once you start, it's very hard to walk away from and very hard to essentially just put it down and do something else until completion. That completion also being running away. But when you're playing, say, a tabletop miniatures game, you can just be like, nah, I'm not really into this, and put your stuff away. But for some reason, when you're teaching something like a role-playing game and you start with combat, people try and see it through, and that's very much the board game aspect. But a one-shot should still have those 4 components. Somewhere interesting to go, something interesting to fight, someone interesting to talk to, and something cool to take home. All right? This is huge. This is really big. This is very important, okay? If it's a +1 sword for a level 1 character, yes! If it's a bunch of the money, yeah, I can upgrade my gear. If it's a plot point or a MacGuffin that'll lead to an adventure, very cool. And believe it or not, this is all over the place. For you video game players out there, I know a lot of games that have that tutorial level. Like, remember Dragonborn? I remember Dragonborn. Remember the first scene in Dragonborn when you're on that little cart and you're being wheeled somewhere and all that stuff? That stuff never comes up again. You get off the cart, you pick your faction, you do your fights, you meet the different factions, and that's it. That's it. The fact that you were a prisoner and stuff very rarely ever comes up again in any of these games, right? But that's your one shot. That's the thing. All right. Back in my day, and I think they still do this when you go to places like Best Buy, and they have a game or a game system on display, and you get one little level that you can play while you're standing there in the store. If it's like a Guitar Hero type game, you get like a song and then it resets. All right, that's the one shot. Okay, that literally is the one shot. Very easily something cool to do that you don't really have to invest. Yes, like a demo level, clever little vixen. Now here's the gig. All right, most really successful long-term campaigns, all right, are a series of one-shots that are linked, or as you media savvy young people out there, serial adventures, self-contained stories that can be played in one thing. Self-contained stories that can be started, climaxed, and ended in one sitting that lead to the next episode and have continuity. They have they have, I guess you can say, consequences and world building behind them. But a one shot, you don't need that. What's a one shot? You're on a pirate ship. Make a roll. Okay, you've just been press ganged into one of the new crews. Now there's a fire on the pirate ship. Now you have to put it out. Boom. That's one night. That's all you gotta do. And that literally is how you write a one-shot adventure. At least how you start. Of course, you got to have the crew. You got to have, and the crews are the other characters and what they're good at and what weapons they have. But at the end of the day, you're a bunch of people on a pirate ship. The cook got drunk, fell asleep, left the, stopped tending to the cooking of the grog, and everybody flipped out because boom, now there's a fire on the boat and you're in the middle of a bunch of water, be it a lake, an ocean, a sea, any of that stuff. And this is what I'm talking about. It really is like that. And a one shot is a really cool way to get new players into games, or if you've been playing and you want a GM, this is where you wet your beak, where you cut your teeth. You know what I mean? Because it's only one session, one night, or one day, one Saturday. Boom, it's a one shot. If you're playing with a bunch of completionists, yeah, I see you, RJ. Then you start at 3 in the afternoon and hopefully you'll be done by 10 at night. And honestly, that would be a good day to spend your day. And a lot of people look at these time commitments with this whole thing of like, I don't know, man, it's a long time to do it. It's like, bro, how long does it take you to watch a movie and get something to eat? Seriously. I mean, it really is one of those things. And a lot of people are like, well, it takes me 10 minutes to get to the movie theater, and then the movie is 2.5 hours with runtime and trailers, and then, we go get something to eat, so that's another 5 minutes to get somewhere to eat, and then another 30 minutes to an hour to eat whatever it is that we're eating, and then another 10 minutes to get back. Boom, you just talked 4 hours right there, bro. So it really is a good thing to do. One of the things that I really dig about one shots is that it doesn't require a lot of resources. Okay, that is huge. I honestly prefer running one shots more than I love running campaigns, because if you're running a campaign, you can end up writing a world Bible. If you're writing your own campaign with geography and maps and how do the cities run, what's the tax policy, who lives in the woods, how do they do it, what are the local floral and fauna, and I'm not saying that's not fun, but what I am saying is that it's not quick. All right. I'm in a game on live action role play, and one of my favorite people to play with in that game loves maps. They love maps. All right, they love it. That topography is their jam. All right, so they love creating worlds for campaigns. And the thing is, you don't really need to do that for low level one shots. Seriously. If you have the player's handbook for most role-playing games, and I mean this, not the GM's guide, not the monster manual, not any of that stuff. Example, like, well, let's say I only have the player's handbook for Dungeons and Dragons. I can run a one-shot from that? Oh, absolutely. You don't even really need the monsters in the back, all right? And that's just basic, like, cat, dog, lion type stuff. You can write out gangs. You can write out stat blocks for competing parties. You can write out stat blocks for, a serial killer that's in town, and this is their level and stats. And that's all you need. All right? That really is all you need. That's it. That is all. And honestly, given if you live in the United States or most first world countries right now, inflation is through the roof. Gas prices are stupid. And, just going out for a day, heck, going to get fast food for a couple of people can be upwards of 50, 60, 70 bucks. So sitting down with your friends that have the means to travel to where you are, you can play a one shot and be super entertained for a whole day. All right, that is seriously what you can do. And if you already have the player's handbook for whatever game you want to run, Mutants and Masterminds, Savage Worlds, D&D, Esper Genesis, Call of Cthulhu, Paranoia, Torg, In Nomine, all that stuff. And yeah, I literally just named about this much of one of my gaming bookshelves. Then that's all you need. That's it. You got that, you got your dice, you got your people, you're done. All right. And if they want to do another one, then do another one. One of the big things, though, is the utility of it. Is if you have a bunch of one shots, you can pop those one shots into any campaign you're already running. If life got in the way and you if life got in the way and you didn't have time to prep for the next game, boom, pull out a one shot, especially if it's one that your players haven't seen because you ran it 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So they have a lot of recall value. Or you can pull artifacts, magical things out of a previously made thing. There's so much utility in them. Teaching aids, story inspirations, stuff like that. And the beauty of it is each of these things, each of these one shots, the ones that you write, the ones that you buy, the ones that you download, they all have elements in them that you can easily explore in a different one shot at a different time. All right, so this is really, really good stuff. Think about them like a big old series of side quests. All right, and I'm a big fan of doing the stuff like that. But with that being said, let's see what we can do about, well, what is the term I'm looking for? Let's see what we can do about getting some one shots. Like, that's the thing. If, say, you want to run D&D and you're not in that space to write a one shot, or you're a new GM or something, what are some resources that I can provide to you? Well, I'm very glad that you asked. Okay. Let's take a look real quick at what we can find as far as these resources can go. I know I had a tab here somewhere. Let's take a quick look. Boom, boom. But But da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah, look at that. Well, let me just get that back. No, not there. Ah, there we go. There we go. All right, so let's take a look over at some of the things that I was able to find when I decided, hey, I want to check out where some one-shots are. Okay, because a lot of the times it becomes pretty overwhelming. Okay, when you think about well, I want to write a one-shot, but it's really taken over and kind of getting them away. All right, so let's take a look over here. All right, hi, how's it going? So I did a Google search because Google searching is what folks do. All right, so yeah, and I did a search for one-shots in D&D. Now, according to this article, one-shots are a short adventure that can be completed in a single session of play in about 4 to 6 hours. They can start in media res, which means in the middle of the damn story, or have clear, well-defined goals. All right, and that is very important. Clear and well-defined goals. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? What are the winning conditions? Let's get to it. All right. And one of the resources I found was how to write a D&D one-shot they'll love. 20 really good tips, but I found some random generators, y'all. You know, goblin encounters, dungeon random name generators, dungeon random magic generators. But a lot of one-shot ideas. All right, I love one-shot ideas because pre-generated characters, they're freaking great. The first one I found though was this one. PCs are all gnomes that share a flying broomstick who must map out an ancient place. The mood might be deadly serious, but there's an angry sorcerer who falls in love with a character. They're the rival of a character. The characters start in a chase scene, and early on, an ally turns out to be the bad guy. If things slow down, they discover magic items, and it finishes with a reward and the eternal links of a friend. That is it. That is all. That is everything you need for a one shot. That's it. That's all. There's your plot. And like there's your plot. There's your there is your motivation, and there is all of the happy stuff that you will need for that particular thing. I think it is amazing. All right, that's it. You know, I'll be leaving links to all of these pages in the Discord. Let me just put that right there. Make sure that people can join the Discord and get this stuff. Because yeah, I think that those kinds of resources are super gig. But if you really take a look at everything I just read, that's it. Y'all started off in flight. You got broomsticks. Somebody's in love with one of the main characters. Now they're the bad guys. You're all gnomes. Go ahead, do that. Done. That's your day. That's your day. That's your plot. All right. Now, since we got about 15 more minutes of the show, I do also want to point out some other stuff, though. Because when you're running a one-shot, especially with new players, there will be players that will try and turn a one-shot into more than one shot. Let's call them completionist gamers. Some of them might be terrorists, some of them might not. So what are some of the signs to look for with your players while you're running a one-shot to kind of make sure they stay on the rails, okay? When players start asking for super deep, in-depth descriptions, one question at a time, about the environment. Oh, okay, it's a broomstick. What kind of wood is it made from? Was it dried? before it was turned into a broom? What are the bristles made from? How fast are we going? How high up are we? And if you're starting to feel attacked, don't. All right? Because a lot of the times, those are really good questions to ask. But when you're in a one-shot, it's very, very, very important for the GM to make it clear. This is a one-shot, and those questions will extend the game. Now, there is a sense of thoroughness to newer gamers. And when I say newer, I mean 5 years or less. All right? Because there is this overall sense, at least in Western civilization, that the person in power is trying to screw you, and if you don't know everything to the nanosense, then it's your fault if you get screwed. One, stop. All right? I'm not saying that that is not the world we live in, okay? But when you're at the gaming table, it's a game. It's not work. And it's not about winning when it comes to playing one-shots or RPGs. I talk about this all of the time. All right? The stuff comes down to what is the purpose, what's the clearly stated goal. And when players start veering away from the clearly stated goal, then by definition, they're turning a one-shot into a campaign. And if you only got together for a one-shot, it's very important to communicate that this is a one-time adventure, and what they're doing will probably lead into something grander in scope. What I tend to do is I tend to explain that, and then I tend to ask the question, are you guys in a position to commit to meeting twice a month until we solve everything, or did you guys just want to do this today? And once I put the ball in their court, but explain to them what they're doing and how they're raising the scope of the game, they tend to slow down for a minute and go, no, I get what you're saying. And this is kind of the utilities of one-shots as well. We're talking that communication and the editor's mind when it comes to your stories. Now, time for me to get a little gripey, okay? I, as an individual, do not do drugs and I do not drink. But I have been surrounded by people who smoke a lot of weed and drink a lot, okay? And what does this mean? This means that in the 21st century, a lot of people have ADD, a lot of people are stoned, and a lot of people with ADD are stoned and drunk. Okay, this means tangents, non sequiturs, and what my old roommate, may he rest in pain, would refer to as high-deas. And high-deas, they can fall within the rule of cool. Okay, if the whole table is behind it and the GM isn't with it, like when I'm the GM, sometimes I gotta grit my teeth and just go for the high-dea. But when these high-deas start taking over the game, then the game turns out not to be a one-shot, because the stuff that's done, the stuff that was planned out is never complete. Okay, you never get to the end. Just imagine Lord of the Rings if the hobbits had never gotten to Rivendell and run into the rest of the Fellowship. Okay, hey, let's go get some bacon. Ooh, look, a field. Hey, look at those animals. Let's go check out those animals. Let's do all of that stuff. And that's fine for a campaign. Okay, that's perfectly fine for a campaign when the social contract has been signed for periodic get-togethers. Okay, but when it's just a one-time thing, okay, when it's just a one-time thing, it tends to fall closer to the category of board game. All right, and I get really upset I can't tell you how many times I've been invited to places to play board games for a night, and then people got stoned and talked about the same 5 things over and over and over again. And since I'm not smoking weed and I'm not drinking, I'm not invited to that little party of reindeer games unless I start smoking marijuana and drinking. Okay, so I end up getting alienated, and then when I leave, people get all butthurt. And I'm just like, sorry, man. So you guys want me to be here and be excluded from what you guys are doing? Come on. I'll just go home and do something that I enjoy. All right. But with a one shot, the agreement has been made to sit down and play this adventure. If it's and again, I'm not saying I'm not saying that non sequiturs are bad or off the rails is bad. What I am saying is, when you're running a one shot, or when you're playing in a one shot, understand that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the purpose of playing the game, as stated by it being a one shot game, is that you get to the end. Okay? And if not, I like to imagine it like this. You and your friends get together to play Monopoly. And in the middle of someone moving their little dog in Monopoly, then they pull out the PlayStation. Okay, so now they're playing Spider-Man. But right before they get to a boss battle on a level, they then start cooking dinner. And right before dinner is finished and ready to eat, they put down dinner and they decide to do some gardening. You know, so the people that came up to play the board game are now stuck waiting on everybody that was playing the board game to finish doing their individual things. All right. Now, a lot of people called me a jerk because I didn't like this, and I don't talk to those people anymore. But the fact of the matter is, that's part of the social contract, part of courtesy, part of all that stuff. And y'all know I'm really big on that type of thing. Now, a lot of the times, okay, your players, or the other players at the table might not be into the one shot for a reason. There is no problem taking a 3 to 5 minute aside with the GM saying, I'm not feeling this, or I'm not understanding something, or whatever. But know that it's just a one shot thing. It's a one time thing. Let's get this, from the beginning to the end. Just like board games. So if that is the case, you know, you can talk to the GM and give the GM a chance to, I guess you can say, alter the one shot scenario to include something that you might be into. But outside of that, you know, it's a one time thing. But there are there are going to be lots of players. That was again a tangent. So back to it though. There are players that are going to be accidentally turning a one shot into a campaign. So the important thing is to let them know, that's not really important right now. You find nothing of interest, you know, and if they just keep going on to that, to take that aside and say, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you are trying to do that's holding up the rest of the game? You know, I have one player in my old group that loved doing that. Loved looking for every single nanosecond, nanomite thing that's out there in the middle of the campaign. And he's a little bit of a game terrorist, but he's a good dude. Okay. And we always had to plan for Rich, you know. But when the other players joined the GM and keeping Rich in line, the games went really smoothly. And that's really a big thing. A lot of the times, and I'm not trying to vilify the people that go on these tangents or go on non sequiturs, because there are a plethora of reasons that they can do this. The most common is that these people are immersed so deep into what the game is. They're so deep and they're so enthusiastic that their zealousness accidentally ends up accomplishing the same thing that's that someone that's not into it at all accomplishes, which is a complete disillusion of cohesiveness. You get me? So these are some of the things to work out and check these things out on. All right. But in the meantime, looking at one shots, and there are so many out there. There are a lot of companies that publish a book of one shots. I know Wizards of the Coast released, which one was it? Tales from the Yawning Portal. All right. And Tales from the Yawning Portal had a bunch of dungeons, except one, that were kind of designed to get through in one sitting, and they're great one shots. And your one shot can be a mystery or a dungeon delve or a treasure hunt or an escort mission. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Candlekeep Mysteries. Thank you. But the important thing is for it to not be too complicated. You don't want to weave a tapestry of story threads to give this masterpiece that will last the ages. It's X-Men number 134. I mean, seriously. It's Action Comics number 7. It's Detective Comics number 9. All right, we're not talking anything super deep. Spider-Man sees a bank robbery. The bank robbers get away. He puts the clues together, hunts them down. They have a fight scene. He webs them up, and then there is the tag, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. End of one shot. Great way to spend a Saturday. And then you go home and do your laundry and get ready for church. I mean, it's that simple. So do you guys have any questions about what I'm putting out there right now? I'm looking at you, Nerdy Brew, or Vixabel Cosplay, or who else do we got? Let's see who else is out there. Participants, yeah, RJ Nerdy Brew. All right, let's see who's in NP City right now. That's all right, Black and White, or Lana Ray, or Neon Night, or Violets. Do you guys have any questions, out there about what I'm talking about in regards to one-shot adventures? How should I prep for a one-shot? Okay. Prepping for a one-shot, really easy. Here are the following rough ideas to prep for a one-shot as a GM. What is your story? Where are the locations? What's on the line? And who's involved? That's it. All right? You don't need to do anything with an epic scope. One of the biggest things with one-shots is, in movie talk, no more than 2 set pieces. That's it. If you're going to go as far as 3 set pieces, make sure that they're in one central area. All right? Things that you do not include in a one shot. Travel more than 50 miles. Do not do that. Nope. Don't do that. Because unless you're fast traveling, travel is a session in and of itself. Who stands guard? Are there random encounters? Things like that. Make sure that the goal is clear and simple. Okay? Go over there, get the thing. Pick this person up and take them to this place. Stop that thing that is happening. That simple. Okay? Escape rooms are great one-shots for LARPing, okay? And really, that's really all you're doing. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to get to this one place over here, or I'm trying to get out of here. That's it. So no more than 3 easily attainable set pieces. Average 2. 1 to 2 set pieces, and that is it. A long time ago, I wrote 3 little towns that I run my one-shots in. And that way, a lot like the game Diablo, you have your chance. You have your town, you have your NPCs that you talk to all the time, and they can be recurring characters if you want. And if your players are passing through, boom, there you go. That's it. But most of the time, just keep it with Your party has this problem and it has to solve this problem right now. Okay? If they're stuck in a haunted house, then you have to have a map of the house. You have to have the traps that are set up in the house, and you have to make sure that they are easily solved. I tend to say easily solved for any character that's 1 to 2 levels higher than what your players have. Now, how do I keep my players moving forward without railroading them? Well, it's very simple. I give them, like when I'm writing out stuff, and this is how I write out my dungeons as well, is I give them multiple paths, but over the entirety of the map, each path will eventually lead to everywhere they go. Okay? I mean, it really is that simple. Now, there's always a little bit of railroading with any campaign or any one-shot adventure, because you can have your kids choose to take a shower after dinner or before dinner, but either way they're going to be getting wet, okay? Because that campaign is seriously what you've been planning. Those are the characters, or those are the NPCs that you put up. Those are the fights that you planned. Those are the maps that you used. So to keep them moving forward, make sure that there is nothing exciting or interesting where they are anymore. Okay? It's that simple. Now, if they give up and walk away, one of the things that I like to do is make sure that the world goes on without them, and there will be consequences if they walk away. But the consequences won't be onto the players. The consequences will be dealing with everyone else in the world that is in that area that the players will come across. Okay? If the job is, oh, please help my daughter, she's been captured by goblins that are over in the North Field. Well, if you go as far as capturing the goblins and you're not killed, or you're not giving up to run back to town to get reinforcements, you're just saying, screw this, I'm out, then the father of that kid, not gonna like you. Might call a bounty on you. Might take up a collection from the town to call a hire adventurer for said bounty. And the people in town definitely are going to help, because they know word got around town that there were a bunch of adventurers that said, yeah, I'll go help somebody, and then quit halfway through. You see what I mean? And that's out there. And I always put that on the table with the characters, or with the players rather, saying once you say yes to this contract, you're obligated to fulfill it. And if you don't fulfill that contract, you don't have to, but you're not going to get away with not fulfilling the contract without any consequences. People are going to be mad. Prices are going to go up. Rooms are going to get robbed. You see what I mean? And I let my players find that out if they test it. I'm like, okay, so what are you guys leaving in the rooms? That kind of thing. It is a stick. Actually, it's more of a sword of Damocles. But I don't tie the string to the sword until after the characters do that. You get that? So yeah, I mean, that really is the thing. So this has been fun, guys. With that, I'm gonna say thank you guys for joining me today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free, and I mean this, really, feel free to hit me up over on the Discord server that you can find. Well, how can I put it? I can put the Discord server right here. Boop. And right here. Boop. so that you guys can continue to ask me these questions and all that stuff. Or you can send me your questions and stuff at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can hit me up on the social media that we all have and none of us like, being Twitter and Instagram. You can also reach out on TikTok. I hear the kids like that kind of thing, and that's some of the stuff that I like doing. Please, 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 if you guys have it, throw me a donation. There's a donation button here on Twitch, I believe. In the description, there is a link to our... Oh, in the description over on YouTube, there should be a link to our donation button at Back in the Deck at PayPal. So yeah, hang on, Back in the Deck at PayPal.com. Oh, not PayPal. PayPal. The rise of Elon Musk. There we go. I just put it in the description on YouTube. I want to thank everybody there. Like, seriously, this is me going, yo, need some help paying some bills right now. But even if you can't, thank you guys for showing up. And seriously, thank you guys for being here and participating in today's discussion. It has been really awesome. Okay, really awesome, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that you guys are here. And join us tomorrow when DW and I have a discussion about that new She-Hulk trailer. Okay? Yeah, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow on Buster Recap. But until then, if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, your disabilities, or your budget, you can look at them and tell them to take those cards and put them back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me today, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the room, but we'll see you tomorrow when we bust a recap on some of these trailers. Catch you guys later.